man, can't believe this thing's still here. Wonder if it works after all these years. It does! Bro, wake up. Wow, you were out. I thought you would never wake up. COVID? Tariffs? AI? Dude, what are you talking about? It's 2009. Hop in the Modern Warfare 2 lobby, man. And put some Niga Higa videos in the background while you're at it. This is a Fujifilm A235, and it happens to be my first ever digital camera. I've had this thing since I was in elementary school. Before I was officially allowed to use this PowerShot S95, the review for that is on my channel, by the way, go check it out. This was my daily driver. Now, I'm going to be completely honest here. I would show you the pictures I took with it at the time, but there are only a few good ones that I could find considering I was still literally in primary school when I owned this thing. A good majority of the pictures I took on this either look like this or this. Now that being said, when my 8-year-old self actually locked in, I did manage to get some pretty good shots with this. Like the PowerShot, it saw the most use at field trips and overnight sleepaway camps. Although at the time I was mainly coveting the PowerShot, I've really grown to appreciate this thing as I've gotten older. It's a lot more simple than the PowerShot, and you know what? I view that as a merit. Sometimes you just want a point-and-shoot camera that you can literally point and shoot with. Sure, the PowerShot is cool with all of its special features and components, but this camera is usually the kind that people today think of when they say they want a digicam. Just like last time, if you just want to see the pictures this thing can take, go to this timestamp here. There's just going to be some pictures around Washington. I'm not at the point in my YouTube career where I can finance a back-to-back vacation just to make a video, but you know what? I think it's fitting that I'm taking pictures of the town that I grew up in on a camera that was such a big part of my childhood. And you know what? I think Washington has some... For a little bit of background on the camera, this is part of the Fujifilm FinePix series, particularly the A series, which is, well, more like was, mostly entry-level point-and-shoot digital cameras. We'll get on to why I said was in a second. For those who don't know, the Fujifilm FinePix line basically has a variety of series that each serve a specific purpose. For example, the XP series boasts waterproof, shockproof, and extra durable capabilities. The T series focuses on zoom capabilities. And then there's also the J series, which is basically the replacement for the A series. The reason why I said was earlier is because the A series is now discontinued. Now, I looked everywhere online to find the original retail price for this thing, but the only one I found was its price in Canadian dollars, so let's do some math here. Hi, Joseph from the future here. Joseph from the past, I don't know what the hell you were on, but every one of your numbers was completely fucking wrong, so we're gonna do this again properly this time. It originally retailed in Canada for $119.99 Canadian dollars. Adjusting for inflation, according to the Bank of Canada, that's now the equivalent of $171.38 Canadian dollars. So that's $124.47 US dollars, which would have put the original retail price in the United States at around 84 bucks at the time. On eBay, they're actually pretty rare, and they go for around the same as retail. Your biggest price will be shipping, though. I could only find one listing that was actually located in the US. I don't know why these things were or are so rare, but considering this thing came out during the iPhone's infancy, that probably explains why. Now, if we actually take a look at the camera, we can see here that it says Fujifilm, as well as this label, which obviously isn't a part of the camera. Fun fact, this has been on this thing for over 10 years at this point. We can see that it's got a 12.2 megapixel sensor and a Fujinon zoom lens with the focal length displayed here. Hopefully this shows up on camera. On the bottom, you can see the speaker, a tripod mount, and the battery compartment. Simply slide it and pop it open. Throw in 2 AA's and you're in business. The memory card is an SD. This particular one is the OG Fujifilm one with 2 gigabytes of storage on it. Just simply pop it back in. Interestingly, a lot of Fujifilm cameras at the time, including the A series, primarily used the XD card. And thank God this one didn't, because... Now there is one issue I want to discuss with this camera. I don't know if this is because it's old or if I broke it or something, but for some reason, it refuses to accept that it's currently 2025. Sometimes I'll turn it on. Let's see if it does this. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes I turn it on and the date is either literally set to 2009, even though I distinctly remember changing it, or sometimes, just like right now, it loves asking me to manually input the date when I turn it on, to which it'll just say, yeah, no, and automatically go back to 2009 as soon as I turn it back on next time. Honestly, the last video attracted people a lot more knowledgeable with cameras than me, so if anyone has any idea about why it does this, and if there's a way for it to stop, please let me know in the comments. The only solution I have so far is to play Black Eyed Peas for it on repeat to placate it. Back to the camera, when you turn it on, it reminds you for a split second what brand you're using before taking you to the sight picture. You can kind of see that I've got the grid turned on. There we go. Which you can cycle on and off with this display button right here. You have no grid, and then none of those icons, period. Back to the grid. The zoom button is up top right here. Press the right side, and it zooms in. Press the left side to zoom out. Now this button is a little faded here, but when you press it, it takes you to the camera roll. You click the shutter button to go back to shooting mode. For this little wheel here, clicking up will brighten the screen a little bit for outdoor use. Clicking up again will put it back to normal mode. The right side has a few different flash modes. There's auto flash, red eye reduction, force flash, and then no flash. The bottom controls the timer. You get 10 seconds or 2 seconds, or no timer. And to toggle macro, you click to the left right here. The center button takes you to the menu, which lets you get into more of the nitty-gritty of the camera. Shooting modes can be accessed here, and each one gives a brief description. There's auto mode, baby mode, which basically allows you to highlight skin tones without flash. Picture stabilization mode, which honestly works really well. It's one of the modes I use the most. Portrait mode, landscape mode. Panorama is really fun because for this one, you literally have to take 3 pictures in a row and then it will splice them all together and turn them into one picture. I remember I used to make these funny little pictures where I'd combine my toys with this mode. Sport mode, night mode, which actually stabilizes the camera at the expense of really grainy photos, but it'll automatically stabilize it for you. You don't need a tripod for this mode. If you want clearer pictures, there is a tripod mode, and it won't be as grainy, but like the name suggests, you need a tripod. Natural light mode, beach mode, snow mode, firework mode, sunset mode, flower mode, party mode, and text mode. There's also a movie mode. Alright, so this is video mode. Wow, look at this, guys. It's just like it's 2009 again. You can see this is the window to my backyard. I got the window open because it's kind of warm today. One thing about video mode for this camera is that it only records AVI files, which I didn't think would be an issue. And I don't know if this is a Windows 11 thing or my computer thing or what, but for some reason I can't watch the videos I record on this thing without VLC, which isn't the end of the world. It's just like a minor inconvenience. What else can I show you? Oh, okay, here we go. You guys remember Transformers? Remember this? Here, wait, hold on. Let's go over to my desk. I got the DVDs out because I was rearranging my shelves and reorganizing some stuff. So we got the OG, the first one. This one came with a free MP3 player with the purchase of this DVD. I don't know if we ever got an MP3 player. Or I know I have an MP3 player, but I don't think it's the one from this. At the back here, we got Sam. We got Revenge of the Fallen, the funny Devastator Wrecking Ball Testicles movie. The special Walmart edition, 2-disc big screen edition, with over 3 hours of bonus features. And then we got Dark of the Moon. I think this one had a sleeve like these two, but I cannot find it, so yeah. It's also got manual, scene recognition, and then we're back to auto. Now, auto and scene recognition, if you read the descriptions here, they seem pretty interchangeable, but the difference is that scene recognition actually puts a specific mode. You can see here, it's on night mode. I think it's because I'm focusing on a kind of darker object. But basically, scene recognition will automatically put it into a specific shooting mode based on the environment, whereas auto just kind of does its own thing. Put it back into auto mode here. And if you go back into the menu here, you can also adjust other things like face detection, the ISO, aspect ratio. You can toggle continuous shots. And at the very bottom here is all of your different settings, including the date and time that this thing refuses to abide by. This is a very simple camera, but it gets the job done. I honestly really like how simple it is. I really appreciate that. It really does live up to the whole point and shoot concept. Now, with that in mind, let's take a look at some of the pictures it can take.